Good evening. Welcome to the Friday edition of this Forever Sports Daily program. And just as I do that, I realize that I forgot to update the, what we call the tickers across the bottom of the screen. Still, it's been the end of a week of learning here on the program for myself, Stephen Kirker. Thank you very much for locking into this. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. Yes, no doubt about it. Still getting used to matters here as far as this program is concerned. I tell you what, there's really a great deal going on in Cape Town this weekend. So why was I in Cape Town last weekend? Look, we've got rugby to look forward to tomorrow. Some important rugby as far as the URC is concerned, and also the Six Nations. And by the way, Super Rugby kicked off this morning. Remember that tournament we used to play in? Yes. Formula E's in Cape Town. They're busy with free practice today. Earlier this afternoon, there was the ocean race fleet took to Table Bay to do the import race there. The race leaders have done well there. More details of that. But yes, let's talk about the big thing, which of course is the women's T20 semi-final between South Africa, the hosts, and England. And look where we are at the end of the 18th over. We have England 140 for 7. I thought South Africa hadn't made enough runs, although they did pretty well and in fact did better than perhaps they've done in the past. But still, they only managed to score 164 for 4. Yes, it's the highest score they reached in the tournament. Thanks again to some good performances at the top of the order there from Laura Wolfhard with another half century, 53 off 44, and then Tasman Brits with 68 off 55. Marizanne Kapp promoted up the order, scoring 27 off 13 to give some late impetus. That was probably a good move. But you're always left wondering whether they should have pressed on a little bit further at the beginning of that innings. You can see it kind of petered out towards the end there. And 3 wickets there for Sophie Eccleston, but 164. Well, England made a very good start. You can see Danny White and Sophia Dunkley put on a good partnership there, and also another good partnership between the skipper, Nat Siver-Brunt, and Heather Knight. But the dismissal of Siver-Brunt by Nadine de Klerk for 40 off 34. That's one of the wickets they needed. But Heather Knight, she threatens to be able to take England all the way. We'll certainly keep our eye on that one. There's also other cricket which has been taking place around the world. England enjoyed another day of baseball belligerence. That's on day 1 of the second test against New Zealand at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. And that was after the home side had reduced them to 21 for 3 after winning the toss and bowling first. They still managed to reach 100 by lunch and lost no more wickets as Harry Brooks smashed an unbeaten century in England's 315 for 3 from only 65 overs. I think I had that scorecard pulled up earlier. Yeah, here it is. You can see that. Zach Crawley going early, Tim Henry picking him up, and also Ollie Pope going early. And the skipper, Tim Southey, removing Ben Duckett. But, you know, this is the way England's playing the game at the moment. Joe Root scoring 100 there. A measured 100, only scoring at 55 for every 100 deliveries. But look at that, Harry Brook, 184 not out of only 169. And as you'd expect, the bowler's taking a bit of tap there. But at the top, Tim Southey, the skipper, standing out, picking up 1 for 48 in those 17 overs. Exciting stuff from the England side, rather. Oh, by the way, the Super Rugby tournament kicked off today, and I can tell you that the Waikato Chiefs trailed 10-0 against the Crusaders early on in the season opener, and they were 7-10 down at half time, but they managed to score 27. Oh, that was quite fun. We're going to get into that later. My tablet, which is now my new method of doing this, is now how I'm going to see if I can make this work. But of course, as I say that, I managed to close the tab. they scored 24 unanswered points in the second half to stun the champions 31-10. 31-10, wow. The Chiefs' tries came from Brodie Retallick, skipper Sam Cane, Alex Nankivell, and Cortez Ratima. Fly half Damien McKenzie, he's back from a stint in Japan. He kicked 11 points in a brilliant all-round game. Now, in the other game, the Brumbies made a winning start too, and the 31-25 victory over the Waratahs. It's their 9th straight win against the New South Wales side, which was playing at the Allianz Stadium for the first time in nearly 5 years. It was a good, well-supported match. More than 25,000 fans witnessed teenager Mac Jorgensen score a brace of tries in his Super Rugby debut. It's a feat only achieved before by Matt Burke and Mark Noah Kanatawasi. Let's talk Six Nations Rugby, and that's not the one I wanted to share with you. Let's go find the Six Nations Rugby tab that I have open somewhere here. There we go. Let's have a look at that. So that's what we're looking at as far as this weekend's games are concerned. Wales find themselves in the rather unusual position of being bottom of the Six Nations standings with no points from their first 2 games. Now, England, they've got a single bonus point in 5th place. There is that table. My computer, as you can see, is going through a bit of a slow stage. Look at that, Wales on the bottom, and not a single bonus points. Perfect starts there from Ireland and Scotland. Now, after the turmoil in Welsh rugby this week, there's a lot at stake in their clash with England in Cardiff tomorrow. There's 9 changes for Wales to the team that lost to Scotland last weekend, and a single injury-enforced one for England to the side that beat Italy. Now, remember, England lost to Scotland the week before that, so it's the Scots and Ireland who are 2 from 2. And while Ireland will almost certainly pick up maximum points against Italy in tomorrow's other match, well, you have to think so. Scotland takes on France at the Stade de Francais on Sunday. Now, the French have made only 1 change to the side that lost to Ireland last weekend, with Mohamed House in for the suspended Duini Antonio at tight head, while Hamish Watson's return at open side flank is the only change for Scotland. He comes in for Luke Crosby, who's dropped from the matchday squad altogether. Now, France suffered their first loss in 19 months against Ireland last weekend. So Scotland, they'll be steeling themselves for a bit of a backlash, I reckon. And now it's time to look at the United Rugby Championships, and that's where the standings are at the moment. There are 2 catch-up United Rugby Championship games tomorrow, and you can see which ones they are. Of course, there's Ulster and Glasgow Warriors with having only played 13, the Chelsea Sharks, as well as the Emirates Lions near the bottom of the standings. Now, the Lions have had a very bad week. There was the leaking of the survey results that showed that coach Ivan van Rooyen and others in the coaching team were not rated very highly by the players. There was also delay in naming of the team for tomorrow's clash with the Rangers, and also revelations which IOL called a hot dog gate. They reported that the Lions players had to eat hot dogs and wash their own laundry before their Challenge Cup match against Stade Francais recently. They remember that's the one where they played in their training kit. They had to ask their host to help them get numbers printed on those kits too. Still, if the Lions can get the better of Glasgow, they'll be doing the Sharks and the Bulls a big favor, as you can see there, especially if they keep them from picking up bonus points. Now, in the earlier match, the Sharks host 3rd place Ulster, and they could draw level with Glasgow on points if they pick up maximum points. And of course, the Lions prevent Glasgow from picking up the bonus point. I wonder what the betting odds are on that outcome. Has anyone got money on that? Anyway, the Sharks, well, Neil Powell's brought in Vincent Tuka and Dylan Richardson into his starting back row for the game, as well as Boeta Chamberlain at fullback, who replaces the injured Apolele Fassi. Chikuta's brother, Emmanuel, has moved to blindside flank for the Lions, with Frankie Horn back from injury at number 8. Ruan Fenter's picked at lock, even though he lost his father this week. He's in for... the only other change is Sanela Mohamba in at scrum half for Morne Vandenberg in the only other change. Piece of trivia, the Tuka brothers were in my son's year at Northcliffe High. There you go. Let's turn our attention to golf. and it's the Sunshine Challenge Tour, as well as it's actually a DP World Tour event as well, but it's taking place. It's the Nelson Mandela Bay Championships at the Humewood Golf Club. You can see the Frenchman Tom Vaillant has in the lead after 2 rounds. Round of 64 today. That's pretty impressive stuff from him to lead at 14 under par. 3 strokes clear of Adam Blommer, the Finn, and also JJ Senecal, the South African. Hendrik Steerhead, another Finn, back at 9 under par, along with England's Stephen Brown. And they're back in a tie of 6th. Welshman Stuart Manley, Dylan Mostert, Peter Mulman, and Jakob Prinsloo of South Africa, along with Anton Carlson and Craig Howe of Scotland. On the DP World Tour, here we go. That's that leaderboard. Germany's Yannick Paul seems to be playing on a different course from the rest of the field. He followed up a 65 with 69 on a tougher layout at the DLF Golf and Country Club today to move to 10 under par. That's 5 strokes clear of compatriot Marcel Siem. And the home countries Anga Chima, Iceland's Gudmundur Christensen and Mikko Kyrhonen. Successive birdies to finish, and that was yesterday. He was second at the Thailand Classic last week. So clearly, he's playing pretty well. As far as South Africans are concerned, Jaden Trace Scarpa at 1 under. Sean Norris is level par. Thomas Aiken is at 2 over. And MJ Viljoen, Danny van Tonder are both 3 over. Bryce Easton, Jake Redburn, Albert Venter are at 4 over. And well, Yannick Paul, I think he's shot 6 straight rounds below par, which is quite something. So he's obviously on a very good run. And as I say, it was a much tougher layout today, and he made it. Yeah, so playing pretty well there. There's also other golf taking place at the moment on the LPGA tour. Let me go find that. That's this one. The LPGA tour. Let's look at the scoreboard. Thailand's Nakrit Vongtavaleep leads at home in the LPGA Tour's Handa LPGA Thailand. She's at 12 under and 1 ahead of Sweden's Maja Stark, with co-first round leader Jaravi Bunchant and Sheriff third, another stroke back. As far as South Africans are concerned, Ashley Bohai is not in a bad place actually going into the weekend at 7 under par. But Paula Rito had a decent day yesterday. Well, we have to go all the way to the very end to see that she shot a 77 today to be, in a share of absolute last place. So not a great day for her. The PGA Tour is underway, and it's the Honda Classic there. And you'll see. Guess what I've been looking for at online? Yeah, everyone's looking for UPS power. So America's Chris Kirk there and Justin Sue in share of the lead at 8 under par. I think there's a couple of South Africans in the field, but yesterday they didn't seem to be doing too well. There's Christian Bezuidenhout there in a share of 20th place, yet to tee off in the second round. So let's talk about Formula E, shall we? And Kelvin van der Linde is in action. That's at this weekend's Cape Town leg of the ABB FIA Formula E Championship. He's racing in place of Robin Freins, with the Dutchman still not recovered fully from an injury sustained in Mexico. I must say, I was down in Cape Town last weekend, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I've got FOMO now. I won't lie, because we should have really, taken. We should really have taken the this week off maybe and spent this weekend in Cape Town. But anyway, such as it is. Let's look at the timing from that today's free practice. Kevin van der Linde was one of the people who was. Oh, hang on. Why is that not showing? It's not being very kind to me. Okay. Oh, there it is. Now we go. There we go. And as you can see there, the free practice ahead of the race on Sunday. Qualifying is tomorrow. I think it's going to be a spectacular event. I really do. I'm looking forward to watching some of the footage from that. Maserati MSG Racing's Eduardo Mortara, they're the fastest of all. Not sure how fast Van der Linde was. Anyway, I think I'll see if I can get you that a little bit later. Oh, I think maybe that's just brilliant. We have to go to this now. Wow, I'm so pleased. Aren't you pleased? South Africa have the Momentum Proteas women's team has done what I've got goosebumps actually. Have done what the men's side has failed to do so far, and that's reached the final of a major tournament for the first time. Yeah, I've even got goosebumps on my legs, man. South Africa 164 for 4 and England 158 for 8 in reply. And as you can see, the player of the match, Tasman Brits, for that 68 and 4 catches as well. Wow, outstanding stuff there. And those 3 wickets by Shadnim Ismail, I think, and Ayabonga Kaka, who has been an outstanding, both of them have been outstanding in this tournament, enough for the South Africans to beat England. Sunay Lewis, the skipper, had spoken up that the bowlers had it in them to do, to beat England, but acknowledged that the Proteas batters would need to put enough runs on the board, and they've done just enough today for a famous victory over England. It's the first time they've beaten England in this form of the game and in a knockout match at an ICC tournament. So that is something I'm sure Newlands must have been absolutely pumping. And if it was pumping today for the match against England, I can only imagine how exciting it's going to be there for the final. What a day it's going to be here in South African cricket. I think when you're playing at home, and especially in South Africa, well, probably everywhere around the world, a home final, it certainly gives you some gees. So this weekend in Cape Town is really shaping up to be an absolutely excellent one. Oh wow, that is such good news. Something else which took place in Cape Town today was the ocean race, and this is it. Horsham PRB has won the Cape Town import race. An excellent day for the import race to be held. Now, if you don't know about the ocean race, some people might remember something called the Volvo Ocean Race, which came into town, Cape Town, for a few races in a row. Before that, it was called the Whitbread. Volvo ended their partnership with the race, and it's become the Ocean Race. It's also moved on. So some of the boats which were in the last edition of the Volvo Ocean Race, the VO65, they're racing in a sort of secondary class to this. And the top tier monohulls are actually racing in the Ocean Race. And they race their way around Europe. We'll bring you more of the action of that. But anyone who was there, I'm sure, had a great day. But Team Horsham PRB, they actually are leading the race overall. They didn't do too well in the last import race, but they won the start here. And anyone who's sailing knows that winning the start it's not. I don't know. This is a discussion for the bar, but it's a very important part of a race, especially in any size fleet. If you can get a jump on your competitors at the start, it gives you a good thing. And they led virtually from start to finish, with the 11th Hour Racing second, Team Malaysia in third. There was a bit of drama at the beginning of the race because Biotherm, which one of the Volvo 65s, tangled with the first marker during the start, and then that marker ended up in a different position. And I think it was Team Malaysia, one of the other teams, sort of sailed to the wrong mark on the downwind leg, which meant they sailed a further distance. Anyway, I don't know if there was any recourse for that. I sort of lost touch with that. But the fleet will be departing Cape Town for the next leg. And I'm still bummed that I'm not in Cape Town to watch it. Anyway, be that as it may, be that as it may, I'll survive. Now, let's end with some cycling to end. And let's pick up the winner of today's stage. Team Jayco's Dylan Groenewegen got the perfect lead out to outsprint um, everyone else to victory ahead of Fernando Gaviria of the Movistar team and Sam Bennett of Bora Hansgrohe. That's in stage 5 of the UAE Tour today. Soudal Quickstep's Remco Evenepoel retained the race leader's red jersey, but the Belgian extended it by 2 seconds, his lead rather, to 9 seconds ahead of Ineos Grenadiers Australian Lucas Plapp. By picking up points by finishing second at the second intermediate sprint. Spaniard Pello Bilbao, Bahrain victorious, is at 11 seconds now. And EF Education, no, 13 seconds. Yeah, 13 seconds. And EF Education Easy Post South African time trial champion Stefan de Bod is still fourth at 1 minute and 3 seconds. That's where we'll leave it. Is there anything I've left out? Quite possibly. Anyway, thanks for spending time with me during this trial week, first trial week of the Forever Sports daily program. As I said earlier in the week, we need to put on a program which you want to watch, obviously. That's what it's here for. So if you've got any suggestions about the kind of sport you'd like us to cover and how, please do make those suggestions. Also keep in mind, while we would love to bring you a slick, video-filled production, we are limited by certain restrictions as far as the rights are concerned. So there is that. But we will certainly do what we can to make sure that we keep, yes, definitely improve and keep improving it. Otherwise, of course, there's a lot of excellent other content on Forever Sport. The Forever Sports rugby stuff put on by Stephen Patet is always up to date and on point and pretty much essential viewing for a take on the rugby scene. Good luck to the Momentum Proteas. I'm so excited. I think everyone's going to be on the edge of their seats. Anyway, do have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and I hope to talk to you again on Monday. Have a great one.